Our next question is, how hard can it be to really pull yourself up by your bootstraps? And I want to talk about how we address the limits of observation, how we address the imperfection of this sampling. Because we've seen that I can change the sampling, or I can have a really bad sampling, and it changes what my p-values are, and it changes what I think happened in reality. And that's just the way the world is. That's just the nature of it. We're trying to create some confidence around some value. We're trying to say, sure, you can sample this differently, but irrespective of that, what do we think really happened? Do we think it's likely that the sampling generated some noise here, or do we think it's likely that there was something real there? In the bootstrapping approach, what I can do is I can take a fixed and known sample and I can resample within it. Every time I've done this sampling, you notice I did it without replacements. What I can do, if I can't go back to the original population, I can only look at a single fixed sample of that population, is I can go back into that sample and I can say, reconstruct that sample. And when you reconstruct that sample, allow some of these elements to duplicate. Reconstruct it with replacement. That is, I could pick one value 3 times. Do that many, many times in a row. Do it constructively. Do it 10,000 times in a row. When you do that, try to do that so that we can so we can compute what our confidence level is, that the mean was a particular value, or what our confidence interval for what the mean is, using this bootstrapping approach, reconstructing our sample data set from the existing data set. Now you can think, this is a very simple technique to do. You can actually even imagine in your head, you take the sample data set and you just kind of resample and resample and resample and resample and see what happens over it. If it makes you feel a little bit icky because you're like, well, I'm still only working with the sample data, that is granted. But I want to show you this idea of bootstrapping a representative data set by resampling this data set. And mechanically, really all that's happening here is somebody has taken a sample, they have resampled it, so they've just done a random.choice 10,000 times, allowing for replacement. They have some summary statistic that they want to compute, like the mean that they want to compute against, and they're looking at what the CDF, what the distribution of that is, and they're trying to make a judgment about the underlying data. And so here, we might have sampled badly, but with this resampling, with this bootstrapping, we can maybe start to make a judgment that irrespective of our sampling, it's probably the case that the actual population mean maybe lies somewhere here in that middle around 70 or so. So we can try and create something better from the sample that we happen to have. Finally, our last and final question is,